The grand ballroom glimmered under countless crystal chandeliers, casting fractured light across white roses and gilded chairs. Waiters in black vests weaved through tables with practiced grace, refilling champagne flutes without ever making eye contact with men like me. I stood near the back wall, tugging awkwardly at the cuffs of a borrowed suit that pinched my shoulders. My reflection in the golden mirrors looked older than I felt. Deep creases lined my forehead, reminders of decades spent worrying about bills, school fees, and the future of the boy I raised alone. It was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, the culmination of everything I sacrificed. 21 years ago, his mother walked out with a single bag, leaving behind a toddler with teary eyes and a clueless young father. Since then, it had been me who made his lunches at dawn before my plumbing jobs. Me who sat cross-legged on the floor, teaching him spelling lists late at night. Me who patched his torn soccer jerseys with shaky hands after 12-hour shifts fixing clogged drains. I worked like a mule, plumbing by day, grocery delivery by night. Some winters, we ate instant noodles by candlelight because the heating failed. But he always went to bed warm under layered blankets, and he never missed a school excursion. That was my promise. Today, Jason stood tall in a sleek black tuxedo, greeting guests beside his new bride. Her gown sparkled like stardust, her parents glowing with the smug pride of old money. Everywhere I looked were pearls, designer heels, bespoke suits. I felt like a dented kid in a gourmet store. Still, I held my head high, heart thudding with silent pride, until I reached my seat. There it was. At the family table, beneath a golden placard reading, "Father of the Groom," someone had written in sweeping gold cursive, "Low-educated fake dad." I blinked, convinced I was hallucinating. My calloused fingers traced each letter. Fake dad. Low-educated. Two words that cut deeper than any blade. At first, I thought it was a harmless prank. But then, muffled laughter erupted from the bride's side of the table. Her father, a retired university dean with steel-gray hair and haughty eyes, let out a snort of amusement. Her mother dabbed her lips with a napkin, eyes twinkling with hidden glee. One of her cousins leaned toward another, whispering words that ended with both of them giggling uncontrollably. The laughter spread like an infection. I could hear them muttering under their breath. Didn't he drop out of high school? Look at that suit. God, plumbers should stay in their lane. A tight, sour heat crawled up my neck and pulsed behind my eyes. I looked for Jason. He was standing under the grand floral arch with his bride and her parents as the photographer snapped photos, his smile wide and proud. He hadn't seen it. He couldn't have seen it. Shaking, I turned the nameplate over so no one else would read it. I tried to sit quietly, ignoring the snickers and sidelong glances, but each giggle felt like a slap to my chest. My breathing became ragged. I pushed back my chair to leave. Then I felt a firm hand wrap around mine. I turned to find Jason standing beside me, tuxedo jacket unbuttoned, his face unreadable. There was no smile now, only a storm swirling in his eyes. "Dad," he said softly but firmly, "let's go home." My mouth fell open. "Jason, your wedding," I said, his voice sharpened, louder, trembling with controlled rage. "Let's go home." The music stopped mid-beat. The DJ froze with his fingers hovering above the deck. Every head turned to stare. The bride's father's smile faltered. The bride herself blinked in confusion. Jason let go of my hand, turned to face the entire ballroom, and spoke with chilling clarity. "You've all just made the biggest mistake of your lives." He didn't explain. He didn't shout or argue. He simply grabbed my bag, took my hand again, and walked out into the cold night air, leaving gasps, whispers, and his bride's tears behind us. I didn't know then what tomorrow would bring, but by the next sunrise, everything would change forever. The ride home was silent. The city flashed by in blurred streaks of neon, rain tapping against the car roof like restless fingers. Jason drove with both hands gripping the wheel, knuckles pale, jaw clenched tight. His eyes stayed locked on the road ahead. When we reached our old apartment block, a cracked building with flickering hallway lights and peeling green paint, I fumbled for my keys. My mind was swirling with shame, confusion, and a hint of fear. Finally, Jason spoke, his voice low and almost mechanical. "Dad, I saw it." I froze in place, half turned toward the door. "Saw what?" "The nameplate," he replied, not meeting my eyes. "I saw it before you did." I turned to him, stunned. "Then why didn't you stop them? Why didn't you say something earlier?" He finally looked up, and what I saw there broke my heart. Not anger, but pain. Pure, wordless pain. "Because I needed to know who they really were," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I needed to see if they'd actually humiliate you like that. If they'd show their true faces when they thought no one was watching." He pulled out his phone and tapped on the screen before handing it to me. It was a secretly recorded video. On it, I saw the bride's father pass a gold pin to a cousin, smirking as he whispered, "Add something about his fake education. Plumber dads aren't real parents." Her mother laughed softly. Another cousin chimed in, "Trailer trash among royalty." But worst of all was Jason's bride, Emily. She nodded dismissively and whispered with a sneer, "My real father is the man I'm marrying. That plumber is just for show." I felt like the floor was dissolving beneath me. My hands shook as I handed the phone back to him. "Jason, I'm so sorry." But his eyes were suddenly calm, too calm. "Don't be," he said, "because this is bigger than them. Dad, I never told you this before, but I never signed their prenup." My eyebrows knitted together. "You didn't?" He shook his head slowly. "No, they tried to make me. Her father promised to invest in my ideas if I did. But what they didn't know was I didn't need their money." His voice became cold, clear, and powerful. 2 years ago, I started a cybersecurity company with a friend. We kept it quiet. Last year, we were acquired by an international firm. Clean deal. I walked away with more money than I ever thought possible. Enough to buy their entire empire and still live humbly. I sank down onto the old brown couch, stunned. Jason's eyes darkened as he continued. "They thought they were marrying a golden goose, a fool they could mold. But I had my own game of motion, Dad. And now it's checkmate." He opened his laptop and began typing, his fingers flying across the keys with silent fury. "Tomorrow, they're going to learn who they tried to humiliate. And when I'm done, they'll wish they never mocked the man who sacrificed everything for me." The next morning, I woke to the aroma of brewing coffee and the quiet hum of Jason's printer. He was dressed immaculately in a navy-tailored suit, hair combed back, eyes steeled with unbreakable resolve. "Dad," he said, sliding a steaming mug across the table, "today's the day they learn the truth. Today, they'll see who you really are to me." He handed me a thick folder. Inside were financial records, legal documents, and shareholder statements. The bride's family business, Westbourne Hospitality Group, a vast empire of luxury hotels, restaurants, and resorts, was drowning quietly in debt. Behind their curated opulence was a crumbling kingdom. And Jason, my son, he had been buying silent partner shares under shell companies for a year, piece by piece, layer by layer. "You own part of their company?" I asked in disbelief. Jason smirked without humor. "Try 48%. And as of this morning, 51. Glass gleamed all around us as we stepped into their marble lobby. Receptionists paused mid-call. Executives passing by turned with wide-eyed shock. Whispers rippled through the atrium like distant thunder. We were escorted to the boardroom. Inside, plush leather chairs surrounded an obsidian table. At its head sat Gregory Westbourne, the bride's father, brows knitted in annoyance, not fear. "What is this about?" he barked as Jason calmly took a seat. Jason placed the folder in front of him and turned to the board members lining both sides. "Effective today," he said evenly, "I control 51% of Westbourne Hospitality Group." Silence thundered in the room. The only sound was Gregory's chair squeaking as he leaned forward, snatching the documents with trembling fingers. You little parasite," he hissed when he saw the signatures. Jason didn't even blink. "No, Gregory, I'm the product of the man you mocked. The plumber you laughed at, called a fake dad. The man who worked 18-hour days so I could get an education. The man who taught me dignity, grit, and kindness." A hush fell across the boardroom. Some executives looked down, ashamed. Jason's eyes narrowed as he continued. "Effective immediately, you, your wife, your daughter, and every member of your family are terminated from this company. Severance packages will be delivered by mail. Security will escort you out. Gasps erupted. Gregory's face turned beet red. He lunged across the table, veins bulging in his neck. You can't do this. This is my company. Jason's voice remained quiet, but it cut deeper than a blade. It was your company. Now, it belongs to the man you spat on. Through me. He stood, nodded toward me, and we walked out together. Behind us, Gregory slumped into his chair, his empire collapsing around him like a sandcastle before the tide. 2 weeks later, Jason's story was everywhere. News channels broadcast headlines like, "Plumber's son takes over billion-dollar hospitality empire. Mock father becomes silent kingmaker." Investment conferences began sending Jason invitations, praising his strategic mind and quiet ruthlessness. As for Emily, his bride, her social media went dark. Her glamorous posts vanished. Rumors swirled about lawsuits, fraud, and frozen assets. Then, one rainy evening, there was a knock at Jason's door. Emily stood there, hair drenched, mascara running down her cheeks like black rivers, designer heels soaked with muddy rainwater. She clutched her handbag like a lifeline. "Jason," she whispered, her voice raw with desperation. I made a mistake. My parents always made me believe that you and your dad are beneath us. But I see now, I was wrong. Please just talk to me." Jason didn't move. He didn't even flinch. His gaze was steady, almost pitiful. He reached into his pocket and pulled out an envelope, handing it to her. Inside was the contract her parents signed, relinquishing all remaining shares with an added clause. No member of their family could ever work for or hold shares in Westmore Hospitality again. Emily's tears spilled freely. "Please, Jason. I love you." Jason sighed quietly, then spoke with the finality of a judge delivering a death sentence. "You chose mockery over love, humiliation over respect. Now I choose silence over reconciliation." Her knees buckled, but Jason simply closed the door. Softly, but with finality. A year later, Jason launched a scholarship foundation for children of blue-collar workers, plumbers, cleaners, factory staff, anyone who wanted to give their children a better life. He named it the Carter Foundation. At the opening ceremony, the mayor shook Jason's hand and asked him on stage, "What inspired you to create this?" Jason turned and pointed to me, sitting in the front row, tears streaming down my wrinkled cheeks. "That man right there. The one who fixed broken pipes so I could build dreams. The one who was mocked for being low-educated, but taught me the deepest lessons in life: integrity, perseverance, and love." The applause shook the hall, echoing in my chest like a second heartbeat. That day, for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a poor plumber or a fake dad. I felt like the richest man in the world. Was Jason's revenge justified, or would you have forgiven them instead? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Like this story, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe to HOA Phobia for more powerful tales of betrayal, redemption, and poetic justice. Because here, every insult finds its echo, and every betrayal meets its reckoning. Stay wise, stay unbreakable, and I'll see you in the next story.